Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the ace match between STX Seoul and Korean Air Force Ace. And this is going to be by hero for STX Seoul versus Ruby for Air Force Ace. We're going to see a TVZ on Tornado, not a ZVZ as I was expecting. But overall, Ruby may very well be their best player, and he was, I think a lot of Ace fans were kind of enthusiastic to see Ruby coming out to Air Force, and supposedly Much might be coming to Air Force Ace as well, or maybe he went to the Army, but supposedly he might also be a possible new acquisition. But Tornado is a 4-player map. We're going to have Ruby and Red starting out in the top left corner of the map, and in the top right is going to be Hero. Now, Tornado, since we finally have a non-ZVZ, we can talk a little bit more about some of the map features that are going to come into play. Your main, it does have a ramp into a natural expansion, which is nice, but after that, right outside your natural expansion, there is this huge hill. And I was thinking in like a TVZ, which this is, or a TVP, that hill could probably come hugely into play if you're as a Terran player, if you can drop a few tanks there, if you can just get to the point where you can get some tanks onto that ridge, that pretty much gives you a forward attack zone, like a forward command post with which to operate, and that could be pretty darn powerful. But after your natural expansion, your next expansions, well, there's nothing really close by, to be honest. The next expansion is going to be for Ruby in the top left. The next expansion is going to be to the south of that platform. There is another base for him to take, and actually at the cardinal directions there are bases as well. But they're not connected by land to the bases, to the mains per se. But they just have like a ridge that you can float over with dropships or a command center could float over or whatever, but it's going to be really hard to defend those, and those probably actually belong to the player clockwise from you. So that's going to be difficult to... That could actually end up becoming a play if a Terran player started out like counterclockwise. No, sorry. I'm trying to think. Started out clockwise from a Zerg or a Protoss, their next expansion, the third base, would actually put them in a good spot to tank into their opponent's main base, which could be kind of a big problem. We saw a Zerg player, Hero here, went for 12 hatch. I think that was 11 pool, 10 gas. Pretty standard play from him. Actually worked drone up as well, so he's going to see everything that Ruby does here, at least for a little while. Going to see the barracks by Ruby, and most importantly, going to see the lack of a refinery. So he knows he's not going to be seeing a mech play here. Going to be seeing a 1-racks into CC build from Ruby. So both players going for very economical builds here early on. So we're not going to see too much in the early game. This is going to go straight pretty much into the late, early mid game before we see any engagements going on. We'll see whether or not how quick the layer comes down. If this is going to be possibly a 2-hatch Hydra, could be 2-hatch Lurker. I'm not a huge fan of 2-hatch Lurker, but this could very easily be a 2-hatch Mutalisk build, and yeah, he is researching a layer at his natural expansion, now finally producing some Zerglings. Has ignored Zerglings for the most part since he had that later pool, and now he's going to finally be able to usher away this SCV. Might actually be able to trap it with some quality micro. It'll be tough since, you know, they do have the gather trick, but actually it looks like he's ignoring it completely. Going to go try and put some pressure on Ruby's front door here, and Ruby is throwing up a bunker actually, and I think that bunker will be up in time. Should be loaded with 1 Marine, which isn't a whole lot to be honest. Well, 2 Marines, and actually positioning a Marine and SCV on the ramp as well, going to try and stop any sort of a run by. And yeah, it looks like I'm waiting for that. I keep expecting there to be like a Spire being thrown down as we speak, and that SCV should have died there, I think. And it's gonna die though. Maybe no! The SCV does live. It's gonna be annoying for just that much longer. And he doesn't see a Spire yet. It's not going down at the main Ruby. It's actually going down at the natural. And if he gets back out there, he'll be able to see the Spire instead of a Hydra stand and be able to respond accordingly. But I think for the most part, players assume the Spire. If you see the Hydra stand and see the Lurker build, then you respond to that. But I think he just expects a Spire. I think that's the normal play, and that's what we're going to be seeing here. And we actually are, yes, we are going to see a 3rd hatch coming down at the 12 o'clock position for for Hero, and that base is extremely close to Ruby, and Ruby honestly from inside of his base could actually, I think, tank the edges of that drone line, maybe. I'm not exactly positive about the distance. Like I said, I haven't actually seen anything other than a Zerg on this map, so I'm not positive about the distances, but he might actually be able to tank that base or do some damage from inside of his own base if he suspects that this is coming. And for now we see Ruby throwing down a couple more racks. He's going to get up to 4 racks, and By Hero setting up a Zergling contain while he builds up Mutalisk numbers. For now, and the academy has been built, so we're going to see some concepts going up, and one concept not producing the second concept quite yet. There we go. Got a little tongue twisted there, and expecting Mutalisk to pop out any second now, and we'll get to see the Mutalisk micro of By Hero, and Hero is quite a good player overall. I mean, he's not great, you know, he's not gonna, he hasn't won any Star Leagues or anything. He's not calm, but he is he is no slouch. There's nothing that you can really take from him. He's a relatively young player, but he has winning records against both Zerg and Protoss, and his versus Terran it's under 50%, but it's not terrible. It's at 44%, and the Mutalisk have popped, and they're heading straight into Ruby's base, and Ruby is late on his turrets. He is not going to have turrets up in time, and this is going to be a huge problem for Ruby. If Hero has good Mutalisk micro, this could be become very devastating to Ruby's economy. He's already lost 2 or 3 SCVs. Now he's going to start losing some Marines here. His Marines really aren't clumped that well. His Marines are kind of poorly clumped. That's kind of depressing to see. Almost all of the Marines are dead, and some turrets going down at the barracks, so at least he'll be able to reinforce a couple turrets at the natural expansion as well, but really not that many. And Hero, if he commits to this with a couple more Mutalisks, once he gets up to, I think if he gets his 11 Mutalisks out, I think he'll be able to really do a ton of damage here. Going to the natural, picking off another SCV, could probably pick off these turrets. There's only 2 turrets at the natural expansion. He could probably take down both turrets very easily with some quality micro, wander in some Zerglings as well. With the combination Zergling and Mutalisk attack, I think he might be able to take down the natural expansion like now. And I'm not sure if Ruby has the force to respond, but it doesn't look like that's what he's going to do. It looks like he's going to throw down a Queen's Nest, going to get quickly up to Hive, and he's going to wander in back at the main now, going to take down one missile turret, unable to take down the missile turret, and taking a lot of damage on those Mutalisks, unable to do much, unable to take down any of the turrets. Kills a few more SCVs, able to kill off another Marine. Some decent swooping there by Hero. I haven't seen too many failed swoops by him, so some solid Mutalisk micro. I just think that he should really be going for the natural right now. I think that's the weak point. He hasn't even probed the natural at all. He doesn't even really know what's there, and I think if he went there, he would be very happy. I think he'd be pleasantly surprised by what he sees and how much damage he could do there. That bunker and 2 turrets is just wasn't gonna hold up. But I think with all the racks is that